My name is Walter Zausch. I'm the owner and CEO of Whiskey Thief Distilling Co, formerly Three Boys Farm Distillery. I started as a fan of the product, like so many other people, and especially a long time ago, even before stuff was readily available. There weren't nearly as many brands, etc. We'd moved to California and right after school, and so there wasn't a lot of bourbon distributed in California. So I became a little bit of an ambassador, I think, for all things Kentucky, especially bourbon, out within the network of people that I knew in California. Anyhow, and so I'd come home and try to grab some stuff, and just became a fan of the product. And then ended up in technology, worked for various companies in technology, ended up moving back to Kentucky in 2013. I'm originally from Henderson, and we moved to Louisville. And at some point I kind of got the bug to start my own thing, and I thought, here I am living in the Silicon Valley of distilled spirits. There's a business in here somewhere. And so started kind of learning about it, enrolled in Moonshine University in Louisville, learned as much as I could, read every book I could on the subject and of the actual business piece, and then started a little wholesaling company where I was buying and selling barrels. I got to know Three Boys Farm Distillery because I met Ross, who is the former owner, and this is where I did all of my bottling, labeling, storage, all of that stuff you have to do at a federally licensed and bonded facility. So that distillery, this distillery here, became that for me, and that's where I did all the stuff. And then at some point, kind of middle of 2020, Ross sat down and indicated he was probably going to retire and was looking to sell the farm and the distillery. And one thing led to another, which probably included some whiskey, and we worked it out.
I'll probably try it again.
The original company name was Whiskey Thief Distilling Company. Under some, good or bad advice, however you want to look at it, Ross at some point was told that he wouldn't be able to trademark the name Whiskey Thief, and so then he changed the name to Three Boys, kind of in honor of his three sons. He has triplet sons who are now 17, and so he renamed it Three Boys. It was really a DBA. It was Three Boys. That was always Whiskey Thief was always the company name. So at some point, I sort of felt like one of the things I noticed when I first got down here is, as loyal a fan as we could have of this place, they would always come in and say, "Oh, we love this. Three guys, three brothers, three sons, three dudes, five guys, whatever. It's our favorite." And we just felt like the name wasn't as sticky and as cool as Whiskey Thief. Plus, in fact, a big part of our experience, our claim to fame, is we were the first distillery in Kentucky to allow people to taste straight out of the barrel at barrel proof. And so we use a Whiskey Thief to pull, which is the tool, copper tool about this long, that essentially acts like a big soda straw. You can put it in the barrel, create a vacuum there or suction, whatever, and pull the whiskey out and put it into someone's glass. And that tool is called the Whiskey Thief. So we thought that was kind of intrinsically tied into what we do and what's our unique value proposition. And so since it was already our name, it was on our licenses and the checking accounts and everything else, we said, hey, why don't we go back at our 10th anniversary, go back and bring back the original name. And it's been very well received. Our plan is still call this farm Three Boys Farm. So it's been Three Boys Farm Distillery. So Three Boys Farm will continue to be the name of the place, but Whiskey Thief, the name of the brand and the distillery. We've never had a product in distribution. We've always sold direct to the consumer out of this location. And so we would like to get a product out in some limited distribution with the right retail partners, the right distribution partners. So we're working on that. So I think at some point you'll see a bottle out there in the wild. I don't know how far and wide we'll go, because really I think we like how we sell it here. But then the other thing is, people ask me this all the time, and it's like, I think I always say, the goal is to grow without changing too much. So that the experience, which is really important to people who've been coming here doing it, ability to come out on a working farm in a functioning small craft single pot still distillation product, see it come out and taste straight out of the barrel. People don't want us to mess with that. The goal is to, I would say, to keep growing, primarily focused on production growth while staying the same. At some point, I sort of realized this was an opportunity in life in which you don't get a lot of those, sort of pivot into another career and find that thing you're really passionate about. And so for me, that's what this is. The great part is I learn something new every day. And so there's always a new challenge or a new project to work on or think about or figure out how we're going to tackle. Ross had done a lot, had done a lot of production here, and that was his thing, the former owner. And so, but however, we've really tried to focus on expanding the experience, bringing more people here. We just, it was just announced we'll actually be on the craft trail, part of the Kentucky Craft Bourbon Trail. Well, we are now, and then into next year. And so really we've been elevating that part of the business, which is really great and very rewarding. People really like it. And we get to, Hunter and I both, our distiller, we're always out here pretty much every Friday and Saturday, signing bottles, shaking hands, talking to people. And I love that part. And so, yeah, I mean, I think different challenge every day, and then engaging with customers is awesome and very rewarding. We've got a great small team, really passionate people. When we hire people, we're looking for something special in them that, hospitality is a big part of what we do. And we're usually representing Kentucky and Kentucky's signature spirit bourbon to people from all over the place, Michigan, Ohio, Florida, California, wherever they're coming from. We try to select people that can really represent the state, represent the brand, represent the culture of the place. And they've got to be passionate themselves. It's like if they are passionate about the product and what we're doing, then that sort of projects when they're talking to customers, and people realize that it's genuine and they have an authentic passion for the brand. So another big piece is that, unlike maybe some of the other distilleries, we when it comes to the tasting part, because we're focused on single barrels of bourbon at barrel proof, uncut and unfiltered, those tastes, the taste of that bourbon is always changing. We don't have a specific taste profile aligned with our brand or marketing strategy or something like that. So for us, it's always about, the customer says, what should I be tasting here? And unlike a lot of other places that really do try to stay to a specific flavor profile, for us, it's, asking the customer what they are tasting, what they're enjoying, how do you perceive this? Everybody tastes a little differently, in some cases a lot differently. And so, but it's all legitimate. What they're experiencing is for them real and authentic. And then also, I think we feel like that doesn't leave anybody behind. There are sometimes I think people will go places and they'll say, "Hey, you should be tasting, cardamom and cinnamon and these things." And if they're not having that experience, and it could be because of what they had for dinner the night before, that they're not tasting that cinnamon, they're immediately sort of left out of the discussion. And so we try to flip that script. And our people are very, very good and really passionate about understanding that people are having their own unique experience, and it's all valid. We are considered a true grain to glass. We say farm to flask. Sometimes we say from the land to the hand. So we got some various versions of that. But yeah, I mean, actually, if you were to look right here, we recently just harvested the corn that we grew here this year. That corn will be used in our bourbons and whiskeys, and we'll make it into the barrels that at some point will be tasted right here by customers when they're coming in to the farm. So we can't grow enough corn to satisfy what we need, but we grow a lot of corn ourselves. We're also going to be playing with some wheat and some other things, and but yeah, and that's a big part of what we do. And also, we try to make sure everything is pretty environmentally sensitive. We use non-GMO corn, varieties sometimes that are specifically well positioned for distilling or might give a unique flavor profile. And so, yeah, that's a big part of who we are. If you're watching this and you want to come visit us, there are a lot of, because we don't approach tours the way a lot of places do, where it's one tour guide and a specific number of people, they have a limit, not as much capacity for tour and tasting as we do. We have 5 barrels. We can handle 5 people tasting from those barrels. We can handle 35 people tasting from those barrels at the same time. So you can always get in here. We're open 7 days a week. And sometimes people go, well, is it going to be really crowded, or is this going to kind of impede on my experience, et cetera? But it doesn't, because we're in a big barn. You're basically outside. You get these kind of beautiful Kentucky rolling hills. We a lot of times offer food trucks, and the bar behind me is open, and so you can have a cocktail as well. But it is a place that we want people to come hang out. It's open. It's very rare, even though it happens, where we would sell out a specific time slot. Our capacity for each time slot is very high. So I would say, if you're watching this, come visit us. It's a good stop. We're right off of I-64, kind of right in the middle of the eastern part of the Bourbon Trail. And yeah, and come and hang out and stay as long as you want. That's what we like to see, so yeah. He's a pain in the ass. No, cut that. And cut. So Hunter, Ross found Hunter. Hunter sort of had distilling experience, which he kind of honed here, and has had a lot of experience. Even though he's a fairly young guy, he's had a lot of experience in the distilling industry, and has really made a name for himself and makes really high quality products. So I'd say, coming in, my job has always been sort of the business, operational business experience aspects of this place, which allows Hunter to really focus on production. And I think we knew each other before I became the owner, and so we had already sort of figured out that we both approach bourbon from the same philosophies and approach, and really celebrating single barrels and celebrating unique flavor profiles. And so I think we've worked really well together in that the things that he believes in and likes doing, we get to champion with every customer as part of the experience, and also how we make business decisions. It all goes back to like who we are, what we want to be known for, what our brand represents. And so Hunter and I think hit it off very quickly at the beginning to understand that, hey, we both had we're both aligned in that vision, to where the rest of it's easy. Once you have that alignment, making decisions or how you want to approach, problems or new mash bills or whatever it is, all kind of fits into the same sort of strategy. And so that's been very good.